welcome to I Love This Thing So Frigging Much, a podcast about passion. My name is Sophie Katz, and today I am joined by Jillian, a graduate student at Oregon State and a 3-time Shadowcast performer for the Rocky Horror Picture Show. Welcome to the show, Jillian.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here. So, here is how this works. Jillian will have 3 minutes to talk about something that she loves. This can be a person, place, thing, concept, activity, anything she wants. Our only requirement is that she loves it wholeheartedly and wants to tell us why. Are you ready, Jillian?
Ready as I'll ever be.
All right, I got my timer here. Now, what do you love so frigging much?
So, I love the Rocky Horror Picture Show so friggin' much. And the reason why I love it is it makes absolutely no sense. So if you've never seen the Rocky Horror Picture Show before, I'll give you a brief summary. A young engaged couple gets lost in the woods, and you find out that they actually got engaged at a wedding. So that's kind of an asshole move. But they find a castle in the middle of the woods. Oh, they also have a sex with a sex-proclaimed transvestite. There's also kind of an incestuous couple, a former lover locked up in the freezer who gets out, who's played by the singer Meatloaf. And by the way, like half the people are aliens, and there's a couple songs about that in there. So because it just makes no sense, and it's actually a parody of all the B horror movies back in the 60s and 70s, it's so easy to make fun of, and it's so much fun to make fun of it. It was actually originally a Broadway show as well, which is actually super interesting, and a lot of the original cast were continued on in the movie, and I absolutely love Broadway, so knowing that was also really cool. The soundtrack has amazing songs. There's literally a song where Rocky sings it right after he's quote-unquote born about how miserable life is, which is kind of a mood. Damn It, Janet, great song as well. And of course, you can't forget Touch, Touch, Touch Me, which is, of course, one of the best songs probably on the album. I can continuously listen to it for hours and hours on end. And I have seen this movie as being part of the Shadowcast probably at least 200 times, that I can quote it word for word. They also managed to pick the most attractive people to be part of this cast, such as Tim Curry as Frankenfurter, which awakened something in me that I didn't know was there. And of course, Susan Sarandon, my queen, as Janet, and Barry Bostwick as a very attractive Brad. But the live shows are so much fun. The shadow casts are super fun to be a part of, and also has a super accepting space. People are constantly gender bending the roles and allowing a spectrum of people to play the roles. And it's just so much fun to be part of the community that is Rocky Horror. And that's why I love Rocky Horror so freaking much.
All right. Thank you for telling us about Rocky Horror Picture Show today.
It's a great movie and a fun time, and I just love it so much.
Tell me more, what was it like to perform in the Shadowcast? Maybe also mention what it means to be in the Shadowcast, maybe for people who have never seen Rocky Horror Picture Show before.
Yeah, so the Shadowcast is basically lip syncing. It's like acting without the words. Like, you're not actually speaking anything, but usually you go and mimic the motions. The movie will be playing on a screen behind you, and you go and mimic the motions and the sounds and, go around. And so I am an engineer, so I typically don't do like kind of theatrical stuff, but I grew up dancing, and so I love being on stage. And so being able to kind of do something that was completely outside of my comfort zone, and I mean, I was strutting up there in my underwear pretty much, which is definitely, something a little bit uncomfortable for me. And so being able to go and kind of get away from all my STEM homework that I love, and I'm so happy I chose the field I'm in, but kind of getting away from that and getting a kind of a escape from day to day and just living this fantasy world where, again, nothing makes sense and it's all a parody, but also having a really group of people that were so accepting of that and were allowed me to be my weird, crazy self and, wanted me to be my weird, crazy self. But, that was just so much fun, and I'm so glad that I got that opportunity when I was in college.
Tell me about the ways that people make fun of the Rocky Horror Picture Show, because you said that it doesn't make any sense and the whole point is to make fun of it.
Yeah, so a lot of the cast will say things and you kind of reply back, and so it's a lot of dirty jokes. There's a song at the end where you kind of go and respond, and so Janet crawls around on all fours, and so you kind of mimic her, she'll go and stumble, fall, and a lot of other people also know all the callbacks to it, and so it's super fun. Kind of we make fun of the narrator a lot. So the criminologist comes on and he has no neck, And so we always comment, you go and call back to him, he'll say something, and we're like, where's your, neck? And it's just a lot of fun of just making fun of the cast characters. And we always call Brad an asshole because, well, he kind of does some asshole things. And then, Janet's a slut because she goes and, sleeps with a bunch of people. And so that's also just another fun thing of just, also having, if you're in the audience, you can also feel that connection with the audience members because everyone's calling back to the, inanimate objects on stage.
Mm-hmm.
It's rather in the movie.
It's like a game that everyone around you knows the rules to.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of, I brought my boyfriend actually to Rocky Horror for the first time, and I previously was the MC at University of Tennessee where I did my undergrad from, and so I kept calling back all this stuff, and he looks at me and he's like, you know all this? I'm like, I memorized it. This is how much I've seen the movie and also memorized all the callbacks to it. Because you not only have to know what line's coming up to call back to it, but also the callback line. And so, not to say he was very impressed with me, but he was pretty impressed.
I have to confess, I have never seen the Rocky Horror Picture Show, but I know from, general pop culture and, chatting with my dad, I know about Yay Back Row and A Toast.
Yeah, it's a toast where everybody throws toast to the crowd. And so that's also really fun. I would suggest definitely going to go see a live showing of it, because the first time I ever watched Rocky Horror, I was alone in my dorm room, and I was like, this movie absolutely makes no sense at all. Why do people enjoy this? And then I went to go see the Shadowcast. I'm like, all right, I now understand.
Well, it sounds like maybe it's not even the movie itself people are enjoying, but the experience of doing it with other people.
Oh, definitely. And you'll find a lot with the cult movies, such as The Room. The plot makes no absolute sense, but it's the, you throw your spoons, and there's also a scene where it's raining, and there's a light over at Frankenstein's place where Brad and Janet actually find the castle, but everyone puts their newspaper over their head, and it's just a really fun time, like I said, and it's a theatrical production. It's like you're actually going to go see the Broadway show, except no one's singing and everyone's lip syncing to everything. So and a lot more interactive.
Yeah, the Broadway show, does it have that interactive aspect at all, or is it more formal?
It's a more formal setting. I've never seen it actually performed live in the Broadway setting, but I think one of the appeals of having it in that, movie form is that, again, it gives it just a lot more interactions between the audience and the cast, which I think is, always super fun and always gives you more immersive into the experience and makes it so enjoyable, and the reason that I personally really love it as well.
Is there anything that you don't like about Rocky Horror Picture Show? And if so, how do you handle that?
The mess it makes. Pretty much is when we talk about, throwing all this stuff around, in the beginning of, again, back at the UT production, we used to throw condoms. And so people in the middle would blow up the condoms and start bouncing them around. And so cleaning up after the condoms were not fun. Uh-oh. But honestly, there's nothing that, there's nothing I would change. It is just such an accepting space of all people. And it is just so much fun to dance around in my underwear, which is something that I didn't think I would do in front of, 500 people. So, but I like I said, I think the thing I really do love most about Rocky Horror is that it's an accepting space for everyone. And, I've seen straight males dress up as Frankenfurter multiple times, which is something, again, you probably wouldn't see walking around, than anywhere else.
Jillian, thank you so much for telling us about something you love today.
Thank you for having me on this show again.
And thank you, our listeners, for tuning in today. If you would like to learn more about the Rocky Horror Picture Show or our guest Jillian, you can find her social media information in the episode description. And don't forget to use the hashtag #LoveThisThingCast to tell us about the things you love. I Love This Thing So Frigging Much is a production of Through the Window Media. This episode was directed by Sophie A. Katz and edited by Melissa Block. You can find us at Through the Window on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, or Tumblr. That is THROU, the window, at all those social media sites. Be good to yourself, be kind to each other, and you'll hear from us again soon.